Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And this is the pregame show for the Saints Week 13 matchup. The Saints have some home cooking, one of 3 straight home games. This game, they will be taking on the 8-3 Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are having one of their best seasons in, I don't know, probably 4 decades. And now they go into the Caesars Superdome coming off a crushing Thanksgiving loss and 10 days of rest to take on the New Orleans Saints team that has been struggling as of late. They came off their bye week versus the Atlanta Falcons, and they look a little stagnant. But the black and gold look to bounce back against the Detroit Lions inside of the Caesars Superdome. But I want to say thank you to everybody that's listening to this right now, whether you're watching it on YouTube, whether you're listening to it, and also special shout out to those that are in the chat that are interacting throughout the show. Who Dat Nation, we've been talking about this team all week long. We've been talking about this team, especially since we we're very, very dejected as a fan base and as onlookers of this team, looking at them just completely just get annihilated and embarrassed by their rivals, the Atlanta Falcons, last week, 24-15. The offense going into the red zone 5 times, not being able to come away with any points. And also just the last drive down the stretch for the Atlanta Falcons, where they just basically just manhandled the defensive line of the New Orleans Saints. And this entire week, Saints fans have been searching for answers, been asking for accountability, been wondering to ourselves, like, does this team understand the magnitude of what is happening right now? You have one of the easiest schedules in all of football, but you're sitting here at 5-6. You have a head coach that seems like he's not really very good. You have a quarterback that a lot of people considered fool's gold. But then you have like different interviews by general manager Mickey Loomis saying that he feels like they have the right people in-house. You have Dennis Allen going to the podium telling people that the Saints have an identity, disagreeing with Alvin Kamara post-game, saying that the team doesn't. And you just think that this game is just a recipe for a disaster. This is one of those games where, everything just seems to kind of unravel. People start to really figure out what this team actually feels about their head coach, what the fan base feels about the team. I'm pretty sure if I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet, I would bet that you have Saints fans that are going to the Caesars Superdome ready to boo this team out of the building. They're expecting for this team to fall all over itself like they have over the last couple of weeks, and they're expected to boo. I expect for people to have signs that may not be very, very favorable to general manager Mickey Loomis and head coach Dennis Allen, unless they're taking them before they enter the building. But Saints fans have had enough. They've had enough of the ineptitude of this team. They had enough of this lackadaisical attitude that Mickey Loomis has, because he feels like he has enough built up equity because the Saints have been a winning franchise, and he still seems to be hanging his hat on that. And then you have a quarterback that wants to take very little to no accountability the way that the team offense is looking. And all of that is just a recipe for disaster. And I tell you, like, people don't mind understanding that teams are going through rebuilds. They don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with understanding that a team is trying to find themselves. But they do take offense to when an organization tries to insult their intelligence by telling them that they are a legit contender with what they actually have in house, and everybody can see that they don't. As far as the game is concerned, the keys to victory to me as far as the New Orleans Saints are concerned, the keys to victory to me is the fact that you got to play the time of possession game with the Detroit Lions. The Saints are going into this game. They're going to be short-handed. You don't have Michael Thomas. You don't have Rashid Shaheed. You're going to be relying on some young, inexperienced guys to go out there to make plays. So to me, you got to control the time of possession, and that goes with running the football, taking advantage of Jamal Williams and also taking advantage of Alvin Kamara. The Detroit Lions, although they have some talented defensive linemen and linebackers, they haven't been able to generate a pass rush over the last few weeks. Aiden Hutchinson has 5.5 sacks. You expect for him to take that big leap forward going into his second season, and it just seems like the sacks are few and far in between. And also, the secondary issues. They've had secondary issues, and that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, especially since their defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, was over our secondary. And at that time, it seemed like their technique seems to struggle. So the secondary of the Detroit Lions is susceptible to getting beat. To me, I feel like the Saints have to run the football in order to control the time of possession because they are kind of short-handed when it comes to the wide receivers. So you have to rely on Alvin Kamara in order for you to be able to control that time of possession and also get into the hands of Jamal Williams as well. Defensively, I feel like the Saints have to get pressure on Jared Goff. Jared Goff is one of those guys that isn't looking to run. He's not going to scramble, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that the Saints have played aren't looking to scramble, but they're still getting big chunks of yards. So the Saints are going to have to find a way to condense the pocket to make sure that Jared Goff can escape and also kind to keep him in the pocket and make him make quick decisions. I think in this game, I feel like the Saints may need to blitz a little bit more. Jared Goff, after going on that 380 game streak without an interception, he has turned the ball over quite a bit this season. He has 18 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in this season. And, he has thrown some interceptions, quite a few this season. He had 4 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken, or 4 turnovers, rather, in a game versus the Chicago Bears. And he also had some turnovers in a game versus the Green Bay Packers. So if the Saints can actually get their hand on some of these turnovers and also run the football, maybe you can make this game a little bit interesting because Detroit is coming into this game high-powered offense, all hands on deck for the most part. You got to deal with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 guys that are kind of similar in skill set to the guys that you actually played last week in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. So not too many teams get opportunity to make up from the mistakes that they made from week to week because there's different type of game plans because you're going up against different types of schemes and players. But when you look at the Detroit Lions and their running back group, it's exactly the same as it was last week versus Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. They got that same type of 1-2 punch going there. So the Saints can actually make up for that ineptitude last week in order for and try to have a better showing this week. As far as the defense of, once again, the Detroit Lions, not really that good, kind of up and down, similar to some of those earlier years of Saints where it's a high-powered offense and the defense kind of struggles just a tad bit. But if I'm a betting man, I would say that the Detroit Lions are going to win this football game. I think that the Saints are going to play tough because everybody's been talking about them. Everybody's been making fun of them. Everybody's been saying that they're not good enough. And we all know that this is a reactionary team because everybody thinks everybody needs to be fired and their heads need to roll. They're going to try to go out here and muster up a win and try to look as impressive as they have all season. And it's going to continue to leave us scratching our heads and wondering to ourselves, why can't we see this team every week? You're probably going to see some unconventional things. Pete Carmichael, because everybody's saying that he's not very good. You're probably going to see a little bit of wrinkle that you have not seen, or offensive play that you haven't seen. When it comes to Derek Carr, you're probably going to see him being a little bit more aggressive, probably going to see him maybe scramble a little bit more. I don't know, doing some things that he probably normally unconventionally does not do because everybody's talking about him and he's a people pleaser. I mean, it's the same old song and dance, folks. I mean, to me, even if the Saints were to win this football game, it doesn't change the fact that they need to go and change some things around, because once again, you cannot just waste your time as a fan just yelling to the rooftops every single week, telling this team they suck, in order to generate this fake motivation for them to go out there in order for them to play better. So regardless of this, I mean, I still feel the same way. I feel like a regime change needs to be taking place at the end of the season. But I expect for the Saints to play better this week because everybody's been talking about them, and that's just the way that they do things. But I still feel like the Detroit Lions are going to win because they need to stay lock and step with some of the teams in the NFC. We seen the Dallas Cowboys beat the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night. You got a big-time matchup coming up after the Saints game goes off between the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Detroit Lions have a really legit chance of getting that top spot, maybe a 2 seed. I don't see anybody knocking off Philly, but at least that 2 seed where you can actually get a few home games. If you can win your first game, that first game in that wild card, you can get another game in the divisional round in Detroit. And that would be amazing. That fan base has been clamoring for moments like that for a long time. So a part of me, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm kind of rooting for the Detroit Lions to have a successful season. Is this something about underdogs? Is this something about underdogs and them finally breaking through that glass ceiling? Not to say that, like I want them to beat the New Orleans Saints. No, I don't. I don't want them to beat the New Orleans Saints. But if you look at how talented this team is versus what's going on with the Saints, you have to believe that they will. But I'm just saying, like, as far as them being an underdog team, it's kind of hard for me not to want to root for these guys in order for them to find some levels of success. I mean, they've been a struggling franchise for a long time. And being a Saints fan for 37 years of my life, it's really good to see fan bases that have been struggling for a long time finally get some level of happiness when it comes to their football team. But I got the Detroit Lions winning this football game 27-17. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of your comments, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go from there. I want to acknowledge the donation from Cool Sports. Cool Sports says, TJ, I'm at the point to where I hope we lose and we don't make the playoff because I want DA to be fired. You think that makes me a bad fan? No, I don't, because here's the thing, Cool Sports. You have a lot of fans that feel the same exact way because they feel like that's the only way that Mickey Loomis is going to realize that Dennis Allen is not the answer. Mickey Loomis, after that interview, and I went back and I watched it, Mickey Loomis is absolutely delusional. Like, if he thinks that he has the right people in the building. And shouts out to my big brother, EJ Jones, man. I was talking to him this morning. I stopped over at the Walmart and I was talking to him as I was picking up a few things for the house. But we were talking a little bit about that interview with Mickey Loomis, and I understand why Mickey Loomis feels the way that he does. I understand why Mickey Loomis has this false sense of reality. It's honestly because Mickey Loomis was responsible for giving the Saints the most prosperity they ever had in their entire existence. Hiring Sean Payton, them signing Drew Brees, and having 15 years of being one of the best teams in all of football. And you can hear it inside of the interview because on one of the statements he made, he went back to when Mike Hoss, shouts out to Mike Hoss, the voice of the New Orleans Saints, he asked him about the red zone. And he said, the red zone is an issue that we're struggling with, but we have 17 years of good red zone play. And I think when you're talking like that, when you start thinking about the past, it makes all the sense in the world. And it's the main reason why I keep lobbying and I keep saying that this team does not want to remove themselves from the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. And they try to hold on to every single person that is close to it or resembles that. And I just think that there's this level of comfortability that he has. And he has it because, once again, he was responsible for providing the New Orleans Saints with the best run that they ever had in their entire existence. But here's the thing. You are not taking into account that you have fans that don't remember the New Orleans Saints during those times when they were terrible. All they know is the Saints being a prosperous football team and being one of the most legit teams in the NFC because of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. See, As a 37-year-old man, I could go back into history during the times when I was growing up in the 90s, late 80s, and I can remember the Saints were being terrible. I can remember people not wanting to watch Saints games. I can remember people not wanting to wear Saints gear. I can remember people can buy go to Swagman's and buy Saints tickets and make groceries at the same time. I can remember those things. I can remember being good at school. You can get 2 Saints tickets, right? That's how easy and accessible Saints tickets were growing up. So when Drew Brees and Sean Payton came in, yes, it was a breath of fresh air. And it does make me a little bit more patient when it comes to certain situations because I've seen this team at its worst. Regardless to how people may feel about this team, it's been worse. But here's the thing. I keep saying here on the show, I can't get mad at a 26, 27-year-old man or woman that is frustrated with the New Orleans Saints because they have not experienced that level of ineptitude that they're experiencing right now. And that is what Mickey Loomis is not taking into account. Yes, you brought this team's prosperity, but you also have a large majority of this fan base that don't remember where this team actually came from. Like it's like reading history. Like, yes, we can have an appreciation for history, but you will never have an appreciation for certain levels of history like some of the people that actually lived it. No disrespect. For example, it's like during the times of Jim Crow and segregation, right? Now, my generation is a recipient of all of the hard work and dedication that my grandparents went through. So even though I have an appreciation for the lunch counters and all the things and the legislation, right? I will never have a level of appreciation more than my grandparents that actually lived it, that actually experienced it. So they understand it from both sides. And that is what I feel like Mickey Loomis is not understanding. You have people that don't understand it from both sides. And you have that as the social media generation and the media outrage. And their voices are louder than some of the people of my generation because that generation is on social media. Those are the ones that are out here really, toting the drum more so. So you have to appease to those individuals. They don't care what you brought this team from. What they see is what you have this team looking like right now. And Mickey Loomis cannot just be so full of himself or feel like he just has this level of immunity that people are just going to continue to come to the games like they did, a couple of years ago when the Saints were trying to find themselves. People are not going to be spending their hard-earned money because you showed them what this team can actually look like. You showed them that this team can find success, and you gave them something that everybody in the world and as sports fans look for and aspire to have, and that is hope. And when you give somebody hope and you give somebody prosperity, they want that feeling over and over and over again. And if you're not giving it to them, then they're going to become disinterested and they're going to feel like you don't have their best interests at heart. I keep saying this also. If you show New Orleans that you love it, it is going to show you love for the rest of its days. As long as you live, they're going to show you that. And even in after you're gone. But if you show a level of distrust or you try to manipulate New Orleans or Saints fans, they will never look at you the same. They will big up you if you show that love, but they will act like you don't exist if you show this loyalty or you try to question their intelligence. And I feel like right now, Mickey Loomis is trying to make this thing work because it's comfortable to him. He doesn't want to bring somebody in with a different culture that may think differently from him, and he has to feel like he has to find his own identity once again. This is all about comfortability. Once again, this is like the mom and pop shop. People just sitting up in there, no matter what, if the building needs a paint job, a new roof, they know people going to come up in that thing. And that is the way that the Saints are running their shop right now. But that's not how it's going to work. I'm telling you, people, they cannot look at these last 6 games and decide the fate of Dennis Allen. They cannot do that because they are going to lose the New Orleans Saints fan base because they know deep down inside that there are better coaches out there that can bring this team forward, but You want to keep this team stuck in neutral because it makes you comfortable. Your ego is playing a huge role, and people are starting to realize that. So Mickey Loomis better realize that Saints fans love this team, but they can love them from their damn couch. I'm just telling you right now. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be nefarious. I'm not trying to be a contrarian. I'm not trying to just throw hate out there. This is just the reality. People want to feel like there's hope, and under Dennis Allen, there is no hope. And you can start to see it with the players too. You know, I was watching Instagram, and there was a story that Michael Thomas put out. You know, and Michael Thomas putting out videos of Drew Brees talking about, you need to give a wide receiver a pass he can catch. And also, there was a picture of Jameis Winston smiling with a fan, but he had a Michael Thomas jersey on. Like, Michael Thomas just doesn't tweet or put Instagram posts just to put them up. Everything that he does has some level of meaning behind it. And you can really tell, like, there's something like going on when it comes to the chemistry between the wide receivers and Derek Carr. And it don't seem like they like him very much. Like, seriously. So to me, I feel like this is not a good look. And guys are becoming disinterested. And we're going to see, because this is a team, despite what goes on, they're fighting franchise. They're fighting football team. They fight to the end. So if they go out there and they just get absolutely steamrolled and embarrassed, I think that would be a form of silent protest that it's time to move on. I'm gonna stroll down a little bit, but thank y'all for being here. We got 160 people in here right now. I ask that please hit the like button. All 160 people, please hit the like button. Sean Payton left us parting gift. Thanks for leaving DA behind. Let's see. Superdome needs panic room for the fans. What's happening? Let's see. I wish DC was out. He got guys hurt. And he gonna continue to play. As long as he can, he gonna continue to play. And honestly, like I said, even if he's hurt, he's limited, he's limited, I still like he still would play, because that's just the type of person he is. Let's see. I watched the Saints to see how bad we get beat now. I think they're gonna be competitive in this game. I do. I think they're gonna be competitive in this game because they're a reactionary team. But it goes back to what I'm saying. That's the reason why I'm saying, like, if they was to get steamrolled today, that would speak volumes. That would speak volumes. TJ, I remember my friend making fun of me for wearing my Saints starter pullover in junior high. Yeah, man. Look, and growing up in New Orleans, I went to Lorraine Hansberry, also known as BM Palmer on Cluett Street. Then I went to Colton, Colton on St. Claude. I went to Douglas one year. And I graduated from Carver High School. But, during those times in the 90s, man, you had like most New Orleanians were like 49ers, Cowboy fans, right? And the Saints were terrible, but, if you wore like Saints gear, starter jackets, hat, any type, like, man, they'll rib you out of school like all day. They'll rib you to a point where you take your hat off, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of the goal. Like, if somebody coming out with a Saints hat on, you'll hear people beating on the table. No, about to get about to tear that boy up. And then, what I'm saying, like, they try to see how long it's gonna take for you to take your hat off or take your jersey off or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was pretty bad in the 90s, man. It's crazy talking to like some of the Saints fans that probably can't even imagine that. But that's how it was, man. Boys start beating on that desk when you walk up in that classroom. No, you about to get real. And you better not come up in there, better not come in there with a Saints jersey on back in them days. Let's see, how likely is it we get Jim from Michigan? Probably unlikely. Probably unlikely. I don't see that happening. I hope DA and DC get booed all game, starting from T. Mitros. Saints need to get beat to sleep consistently, because they are in denial, and this will be the only way they make changes. I agree with that. That's the only way they're going to do it, because Mickey Loomis is evaluating this team. He's evaluating this team for week to week. Like, it's something to evaluate, which is laughable. Like, I'm serious, man. Like, I don't know if they know this or not, But I'm telling you, in 2024, it's gonna be hard for them to like people to, for them to have like a packed Superdome. It's like people like if they run this thing back or they play this like, oh, it's just a down year. I'm telling you, it is gonna get bad in New Orleans. Like people are not gonna be sitting up here subjecting themselves to stuff that they know for a fact you can control, and you just don't want to do it. And I honestly feel like I'm dead serious. I honestly feel like they're gonna bring Dennis Allen back. I really honestly feel that way, even though it's been proven like this dude is not that good as a coach. He's not. He is not that good. So I'm like, you can't win. Okay, when the odds were stacked against you with the injuries, okay, I understand that. But what happens when everything is going in your favor and you still can't win? I just don't. I just do not get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand like why this isn't even like a topic of conversation, or Mickey Loomis has like the balls to sit up there and say you got the right guys in the building. Like, you got to be out your freaking mind. Like, this dude needs to be tested for dementia or something. Maybe he feels like Sean Payton is still a coach. Like, you got to be out your mind. You sitting up there. I really feel wholehearted. We have the right guys in the building. Like, what the hell is you talking about? Like, dude, you don't have the right people in the building. And you say some crazy stuff like that. Like that's the type of stuff that really makes people upset. Like when you questioning their intelligence. Like, just because we don't know the day-to-day operations of football like you, don't mean we don't know what terrible football looks like. How can you say stuff like, yeah, we for 17 years, we were one of the top teams in the league, throwing the ball down. Like, what the hell is you talking about? Like, yeah, 17 years ago when Drew Brees and Sean Payton was there, yeah. But you ain't there now. You sitting up here sounding like a complete idiot. Like, man, come on, man. Like, I know, like, Mickey Loomis is not an idiot, but he sounds like one when he says stuff like that. Let's see. Saints fans are waiting to boo. 1-3 and out, and the boo birds will ring out. I agree. They ready. They go into the game to me with one goal in mind, and that's the boo. The let out their frustration. People are tired. Like people are tired of this. I know I am. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm telling you, I would not care if the Saints, if this was the second season. Let's just say, for example, if there was a second season and the Saints had a different coach with a different coach, you had a new young quarterback, I wouldn't even be that mad. I wouldn't be that upset. I would not be. And I wouldn't be saying that this dude needs to be fired. I would not be, because that's a young coach, young quarterback, young, you know what I'm saying? Like, teams are going to have to figure some things out. But when you have a coach who was 8-28 as a head coach in his first stint, right? And he's still losing. He's still showing you that he cannot win no matter the circumstances. It is not the organization. You cannot hang your hat on it. You can no longer say, oh, the reason why he was losing because the organization is unstable. Unless the Saints have an unstable organization. But I'm going to be honest with you. Based on some of the decisions or lack thereof, they are looking like an unstable organization. I don't know the difference between the Raiders and the Saints right now. And if you want to be real about it, the Raiders look more stable than the Saints do. So you have a coach that already has proven that he is a failure as a head coach. He has proven to you yet again that he is a failure as a head coach, and you constantly allow him to have a job. Somebody please help me to make that make sense, because it does not. A tiger can't change his stripes. A tiger cannot change his stripes. You cannot sit up here and just be oblivious to the fact that this dude was a terrible head coach in the beginning. You got to take that into account. You cannot suspend your imagination with that. You can't. And I feel like there's a lot of suspension of imagination going on with this team. Our Saints fans, outside noise is very disdainful. Comment by Mr. Loomis, very arrogant. Yeah, it was terrible. Like, man, Saints fans are loyal. They love their football team, and they just want hope. That's it. They want hope. Like every organization, every fan knows that their team is not going to win a Super Bowl every year. But damn, can we at least get some hope or a chance at the possibility of winning a Super Bowl? Can we please? That's all I'm asking. Like, but when you put this out here, man, it's like, wow. These are the right guys if you want your offense to look like garbage. You get tired of the same old message. Yeah, pretty much. We got to do better. We got to clean this up. We got to play all 4 quarters. It's the little things. Like, come on, man. Like, how many times we going to hear this? See, I'm a truck driver, and I wear my Saints gear all over America. These people look at me so crazy now. We're back to the dark ages. Your show keeps me rolling, bro. King Payne, thank you so much, man. And shouts out to all the truck drivers out there, man, on the road, provide, bringing these goods and services across America, man, and, putting all those miles on them trucks, man. I mean, I got so much respect for truck drivers out there. I don't see how y'all can do it. When I was in college, I used to work at a Pilot, the truck stop, and I'm used to, have these good conversations with these truck drivers, man. They be coming from like all over. And, man, it's not an easy job. So shouts out to all the truck drivers out there on the road, man. Blow your horn one time for your boy. Let's say, do you think we can win today? Do I think we can win today? Yes. Yes, I think the Saints can win today. Do I feel the Saints are going to win today? No, I do not. Anything can happen on any given Sunday. I became a fan during the Dicker years. Oh, man. That's some loyalty right there, because those weren't some good years either. Let's see. Vegas gonna make a bag today. Too much money on the line, so the Saints will win. Yeah, I mean, look for them flags to fly, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm kind of wondering, like, what the heck is going on with some of these games, man. Like watching the Cowboys and Seahawks game on Thursday night. Like the Seahawks were winning that football game, and then all of a sudden, here come the flags flying every play, in order for the Cowboys to matriculate the ball down the field, in order for them to score a touchdown, get back into the game. I'm just saying, man, I'm just wondering, like, how much is Vegas influencing some of these football games? Like, I know people are talking about the NFL rig. Like, I don't think it's rigged to a point to the players, but I'll be lying to you if I don't think there's some skepticism about some of these flags being thrown. Like, I feel like, point spreads or something like that, maybe. Not so much about, I want you to go out there, run this route, and then drop the ball. Like, I don't think it's something like that, but I'll be wondering about some of these flags that I'm seeing, man, because flags can dictate a game. Like, let's just say, for example, if the Saints are losing 17-7, right? And Derek Carr throws the ball down the field, a ball that a receiver can actually catch. If he throws the ball down the field to Chris Olave, and let's just say a cornerback just puts his hand across his shoulder or something, they just throw a flag. Like, not nothing where he stops him from being able to make a catch, but more so like he put the tip of his finger or something like that on his jersey, and they call a flag. And let's just say when it happened, the ball was, it happened at like the 5-yard line. Well, I guess this is a bad example because the Saints can't score in the red zone. But let's say if the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, there we go. If Brandon Ayuk was trying to catch a pass from Brock Purdy, and you had James Bradbury from the Eagles do the same exact thing, the ball is set at the 5-yard line. Well, guess what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you basically gave them a full opportunity and a higher probability to score a touchdown. So to me, I just feel like there are certain nuances of the game where you can say, you know what? That is kind of weird to look at. I won't go as far as say like the NFL is rigged, but I don't know, man. Some of these flags at some of these like, clutch times just kind of makes me wonder. Let's see. Right on, TJ. Keep preaching, brother. Saints complete staff needs to exit. But one thing is they're cheap. That's why they took the easy way out with DA being hired. Saints will be destroyed. Well, yeah, I mean, look, according to Nick Underhill, the Saints spend more money than most teams in the National Football League. Well, let me tell y'all something, man. Look, I don't mind, let me use my wife for example. Like, my wife, you know what I'm saying? Like, she likes, you know what I'm saying? She spends money, but she's thrifty with it, right? Like, she makes conservative purchases, right? So, I feel like there's a difference between, like, conservative, purchases, conservative purchases, where you basically just buy stuff that you need and as necessary. Like the Eagles, for example, right? You spend, you know what I'm saying? You spend money on nice things, right? But the nice things are coming back, right? They just like Shaq Leonard. There's opportunity they can get him. James Bradbury, getting him. Like some of these other players that they're able to get, right? These players are helpful and be able to benefit you. But if you're just spending money on nonsensical things, right, that they're not going to like have any type of return on investment or anything like that, like you're basically just squandering your money. So if you're spending a large amount of money, but you don't have anything to show for it, are you really like, why are you spending money? You're just wasting it. When you sit up here and exhaust your spending on guys that are way past their prime and they're not being as effective as they were offensively or defensively throughout their career, you're wasting money. When you instead tell a Super Bowl winning coach and Doug Peterson, nah, we're going to go in another direction, and you go with a coach that was 8-28, like that's wasting money. It's not the fact that they spend money. It's just they spend it on magic beans. You know what I'm saying? Like it's basically like, Jack and a beanstalk. Like you go to town, sell a cow, you're supposed to bring back some wheat and some, something we can make some bread out of. But instead you get some magic beans. Like, man, get these beans up out of my face. No, you can make arguments say the beans turned into a beanstalk and Jack was able to get a golden harp, a goose to lay golden egg. But, you get the point. You can't just sit up here and just purchase nonsensical things that is not going to benefit you in the long term. It just doesn't make any sense. Like you're wasting time, you're wasting money, right? I mean, let's see, could be Vikings versus Chiefs. Are we talking about Super Bowl? So what game are we watching together, TJ? Actually, man, I'm watching the Saints game today. I wasn't going to do any. I can't do any live reaction games. I was going to do like the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers game. I was going to do that game, but my wife is going out of town. She has to go out of town for business. So, I don't know, man. Paxton is at that age now where, they kind of get into some things. So you can't like just leave them like unattended to. Like you can't just sit around and just say, okay, man, just watch this. Like you come back up in there, man, the whole house will be upside down. So no, I can't do I can't do a watch along. And if I do, it's probably going to be like one of those watch alongs where I'm not on camera, where you can probably just see audio and he's in the room with me. So I'll see, man. Like if I get enough people that for the post game show or the halftime show that be committed to like wanting to do that, then I wouldn't mind. We can go live and do a live reaction, maybe for a half, maybe for a second half or something. Let's see. I will enjoy watching Vikings fall in the playoffs again. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think the Vikings, I mean, if they fail, I mean, nobody would be surprised by that. I mean, all the injuries that they have and stuff. Let's see, knowing the way our front office is, we can have a top 10 pick and won't pick a quarterback. Oh, no, we ain't going to do that. We need a pass rush. We need offensive linemen, which is all true. But, it's all about catering to Derek Carr, old mediocre ass. Let's see, TJ, the NFL already picked the 2024 Super Bowl colors, which are purple and red. It's red. I'm down for that live reaction. Let's see. I don't want Carr from the jump, but I bought in once Mike T liked the signing. Well, I was too, man, because I kind of fell in love with the stats. I didn't watch too much Derek Carr. Some of the games that I did see, I ain't gonna lie, I was prisoner of moment. Most of the games, it was like him coming from behind. Like, I think the last game I actually watched Derek Carr play in a Raiders uniform, they were playing against the Chiefs, and it was like the fourth quarter, and he threw like this dime pass to Devontae Adams. And I think that was like the last real lasting image I had of him. And maybe that was kind of something that I brought into consideration on top of the stats. I mean, yeah, on top of the stats, which influenced me to lobby for him. But I already said, man, and I'm going to continue to say, I'm not one of those people that's going to act like I ain't say something. That was the worst take I ever had. Like, seriously, that was the worst take, saying that he was the answer. He can help this team. That was like one of the worst takes I ever had. I've had quite a few bad takes. Like, I feel, like Jalen Hurts falling down. I heard Philadelphia not being that good. Cincinnati not, being as good. They end up going almost to the AFC Championship game. Philadelphia ended up going to the Super Bowl. So I have some bad takes, but to me, like as far as from a Saints perspective, like this probably was one of the worst. Was one of the absolute worst. And I'm like I said, I ain't gonna sit up here and sugarcoat, like or try to act like I ain't say something. Let's see. Thanks goodness for you, TJ. You're the Buddy D of the modern Saints, and that's a huge compliment. But mad ID so slow. Other than Debo, rest of ID Warner is a joke. I already said it, man. Man, I don't know if I said this live or I was just talking to somebody. But I said this. I was like, what player can you look at outside of maybe Paulson or Debo? Can you look at under this coaching staff that you can say this coaching staff has really developed this guy to be a really good player? Like what like can you think of like one particular person that just stands out to you that besides the fact that they didn't come in already being good? What player can you just say, man, I see them taking an extra step? Like, for example, Chris Olave, right? Chris Olave had a really good rookie season. This season, to me, even though, you know what I'm saying, he's played relatively well, you know, in certain games, he basically still the same wide receiver. Like, I don't see too many different nuances in his game that just like any different from his rookie season. Like the only player that I can think of that I can see development in their play is Paulson Adebo. Everybody else is based. If they were above average, they're still there. They maintain it. If they average, they just stay right there. If they're good, then they just stay right there. I don't see like too many players like busting through the ceiling under this coaching staff through their development. Which players? Like you got Trevor Penny, who you drafted in the first round, can't even see the field. Like it's just stuff like that. Like I don't see any players getting better under this coaching staff. Somebody said probably Granderson, but Granderson is a Sean Payton guy. He was already pretty good. Carl Granderson was already good, man. Like if you look at Carl Granderson, like seriously, if you look at Carl Granderson's development, he was already there. Like anytime you used to put Carl Granderson in a game, he'll get a sack. Or, you know what I'm saying, he'll get like a forced fumble. Like, go back and look. Go back and look when he was not a starter, when they was messing around with Marcus Davenport and Cam Jordan as they starting rotation. And watch when Carl Granderson come into the game. Carl Granderson was already doing this stuff. It was just the fact that you didn't see it because he wasn't getting the highest percentage of the snaps. It was going to guys like, Tano Passanio and Marcus Davenport. Go back and watch Carl Granderson and go watch when the opportunities that he had and see how he took advantage of those opportunities. The only reason why you're seeing it more of an influx of his production is because he's a starter now. They're giving him the opportunity. But to me, like he always took advantage of his opportunities. So if you took advantage of your opportunities in a small percentage or a small sample size, what do you think you're going to do like when you get, a larger sample size? So to me, I mean, they ain't really develop him the way, you know what I'm saying, in the way I would think that a defensive lineman would get developed. Like, I just feel like to me, like he's already was solid. And now that you're giving him more defensive snaps, he's still, you know what I'm saying, it's just going to be him being solid is going to show even more. It's like a person that goes out there and they'd be like, man, give me the ball. And they shoot a three, right? And they make it. And then they'd be like, all right, man, I'm hollering at you. But if that guy goes out there and you give him the ball, he shoots the three, and let's say he makes, he shoots 10 shots, he makes 7 out of 10. Like, you're going to be like, man, this dude can really shoot threes. Like, it is, to me, Carl Granderson, the only difference is more opportunities, a higher snap count. I feel like if you would have put Carl Granderson in this situation as a starter, probably like last year, like year before, I think he would have been the same person. I think he still would have been like around the 5.5, 6 sack type category. So to me, I don't feel like there was much development there. I just feel like there was more opportunities to see him. He's always played good when on the field. That's what I'm saying. Go back and look. When he was not a starter, Carl Granderson was always good for a sack, a forced fumble, or a tackle for loss. Like he's a starter now. Defense as a whole looks slower week to week. That turn of pick had to be up there with the Jonathan Sullivan pick. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, you forget he even on the team. Like for real, like you forget Peyton Turner even on the Saints team. Man, these days there's no excitement before even watching games, getting the Henny ready, had some excitement to it now. It's like Saints on hoop. Like I'm gonna say this, man. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. Like we need to play what you call, a drinking game. Now, for those that don't drink alcoholic beverages, you can do it with like your Coke or your Sprite. And what we need to do is like at a press conference, anytime that you hear the words, we got to clean it up, or it's the little things, or we got to get better, we need to take a drink. Like that's what and let's see how many times we go sit where we hit it. Like that's what we need to do. Like I'm saying, like you don't have to get no alcoholic beverage. You know what I'm saying? It can be like your Coke, your Sprite, or something that you add water. And we just need to like sit up there and just, anytime they say those three phrases, let's see, say how many times you got to, turn up your drink. Execution. You know what I'm saying? Execution is another one, Nate. Yeah, execution. Let's see how many times we can actually drink water, Coke, or your alcoholic beverage. Let's see. If that's the case, if you drink alcoholic beverages, you might not be able to comment or call in. Based off our last few first round picks, why not take a shot at a quarterback with the first pick? And it's too much like right, too much like sense. Make too much sense. So they're not going to do that. They're not going to do it. Let's see. Everybody would be drunk. Well, not if you're drinking Coke and Sprite. Like I said, you ain't got to drink alcoholic beverage. I'm not advocating for that. But if you want to take a part in it, I mean, you can easily like get some water or something like that, or something that's non-alcoholic. Let's see. They Tubi movies are consistently inconsistent. I'd rather watch a Tubi movie on Sunday sometime than watch a Saints game, the way they've been playing. You will quit taking shots before those words stop. LOL. Let's see. Who you think should make the college football playoffs? Oh, man, we're going to go into that. Oh, man. Who I feel like should make it. I mean, I said it on X. I said that it should be Michigan, it should be Washington, it should be Florida State, and it should be Texas. Those are the 4 teams I feel like should be in the college football playoffs. You cannot negate the fact that you have 3 undefeated teams in power conferences, regardless of if you feel like the SEC is superior or not. That's still an undefeated team. And, people are looking at Florida State because Jordan Travis is hurt and they're on their 3rd string quarterback, but that doesn't matter. What matters is this team found a way to go undefeated for the entire season in the ACC. And we've seen Clemson do this for so many years. What's the difference? Like Clemson was playing the ACC schedule, and you can make an argument that Clemson pretty much, had a much easier ACC opponents. Much easier, right? This was during the time Florida State was down, Miami was down. Louisville was kind of, up and down a little bit. I mean, they playing against Duke in ACC championship games and stuff like so. I'm not going to, I got to take into account Florida State being in a power conference, being undefeated. Some people saying, oh, man, Texas shouldn't be in there. Alabama should be in there because Alabama played the SEC schedule, which is harder. Look, Alabama had opportunity to play Texas at the beginning of the season, and they lost. I don't care what they look like. I don't care that people were saying stuff like, oh, well, they weren't the same team. So what? Don't matter. You had opportunity. Though, it was the same guys that were playing, and you lost. Plain and simple. So to me, I don't feel like I feel like honestly, if we talking about selection, this should be the easiest selection for the college football playoff ever, because most people are trying to make this harder than what it is because they don't even realize they prisoners of their own bias. Like people are advocating and lobbying for SEC teams because they feel like the SEC conference is superior. Or they try to downgrade the accomplishments of an undefeated team. Regardless, that team found ways to win on 12 different occasions, 13 different occasions, and Alabama slipped up. Georgia slipped up. And I'm not just saying this because I'm not an Alabama fan. If this was LSU, I'm dead serious. If this was LSU, I'll be saying the same exact thing. Because it comes a time where you just can't be biased and you just got to be real about it. So to me, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas should be the top 4 teams in the college football playoffs. If you want to talk about who did what and how other teams look and who they got and who they're supposed to be the best teams, like, nah, if you undefeated, you are one of the best teams. If you're undefeated in a power conference, you are one of the best teams. You can't just say, you undefeated, but you ain't in the SEC. So no, like, you had your chance. Alabama had their chance and they lost. And if Alabama had superior, as you say, it shouldn't matter when they played Texas. They should have still beat them. So those are my top 4 teams. That's the way I feel about it. So we getting drunk on delusion on delusion day. Yeah, we're getting drunk or getting hydrated, one or the other. You rather you're getting drunk from alcoholic beverages, you're getting hydrated from water. I prefer the latter, being hydrated over being drunk. But hey, man, however you want to play the game, we can. Let's see. Have anyone noticed that DA and DC finished every sentence with, no, we don't know. Yeah, Well, I definitely don't know. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I speak for a lot of Saints fans around here. We don't care. We just want change. We just want something that we can actually buy into, that we can believe in. Grandparents had season tickets. This game was the highlight of my childhood. Yeah, I mean, going to the Saints games were great, but it's not very good going to Saints games, watching this team fall all over themselves. And then Monday we hearing about how good this team is. Like, we had promise. We got beat 24-15, but we had 444 yards, so we going in the right direction. We kicked 5 field goals, but we going in the right direction. We 0-5 in the red zone, but we got the right people in house. We 5-6 going up against backup quarterbacks the majority of the season, but we got the right people in house. DA says, he needs to take the short bus out of town. I was just joking. No, we drinking water, tea, and coffee here in Tallulah. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Ma. That's my mom, by the way, y'all. The one in the chat. Yeah, I know. That's why, I don't know if you just got here or not, but I was saying, like, we need to do like a drinking game. And for those that don't drink, you can have a non-alcoholic beverage. And when we hear like certain words like execution, we need to do better. It's the little things. We need to clean that up. We need to take a drink and see how many times you got your sip on. Let's we keep going left, but somehow we are going right. Mickey Logic. Man, we moving the ball down the field. I mean, we're not scoring points, but we moving the ball down the field. Oh, man, I mean, players are catching passes, but, we're not generating any yards. Like, what? What are you talking about here? Like, dude, like, I would just, like, honestly, I would respect Mickey's take better if he just came up here and says, I know the season isn't going the way that we like for it to go, but we're looking at everything. We're evaluating everything. And, the best thing that we can do now is, continue to play. We got 6 games left and we still have a chance to make the postseason, but we definitely want to get on the right track, and we have to, make sure that we're doing right by not only the team, but the fan base that goes out there. Because here's the thing, like, when you say stuff like, when you start talking about what people said outside the building and all that kind of stuff there, to me, that's defensive talk. That's like you being defensive. People saying stuff outside the building. I know a lot of people talking, they think that, or they say stuff like, kind of tongue in cheek, like, I know a lot of people have the answers. They say stuff like that, like, we know what we talking about. Yeah, y'all ain't nothing but some, Joe Six Packs out here. Be that as it may, be that as it may. Still, I say this: fans may not understand the ins and outs of football or the X's and O's, or when a player does this, then you should do this type stuff. But people know what winning football looks like. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, when you look at the Cowboys, you're looking at the 49ers, you're looking at the Chiefs, And you seeing these teams have constant success no matter what situation they're in. Patrick Mahomes has a bunch of wide receivers that drop passes left and right. He just has Travis Kelce for the most part, and depends, on Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like he only has like a few playmakers on that team, but yet they still find themselves in playoff contention and wanted to win a winning franchise because they got the right coaches and the right personnel, even though they lost Eric Bieniemy. And like good teams find ways to win. And despite the fact that they want to make it seem like fans don't know what they're talking about, I mean, to me, if y'all like that makes it even worse, in my opinion. If you know what you're talking about and you still can't do it, that's more of an indictment on you than it is me. If I'm throwing ideas out there and I know absolutely nothing about what you're talking about, right? But I think I do. But you're supposed to know and you still can't do it. Who is that an indictment on more? Not me. Because I'm just a person that's giving my opinion. But if you know what you need to do and you still can't do it, who is that more of an indictment on? People know what good football teams look like. Like to keep my sanity, I watch a lot of good football teams play football because I want to see what good football look like. Because once upon a time, my favorite team used to show me what good football looked like. But now over the last few years, they haven't. I may not know everything like Mickey Loomis. I may not know how to maintain a salary cap as much as Mickey Loomis. I may not know like how to, finesse my way into certain situations or navigate through the day-to-day operations of the NFL. But I know what winning football looks like. I know what it's looked like. And I know what they have on their sidelines ain't it. And I know if you continue to put this team and keep this team the way that it is, you're going to lose a fan base and you're going to lose fans. People are not going to be interested in this game. So you can hang your hat on, we don't know what we're talking about as fans, but you're going to be the only one sitting up in there that's going to sound like 2020 off in that joint. And it's not going to be because everybody out here dealing with a world pandemic. It's going to be because people are not going to be spending their hard-earned money on a team that doesn't have their best interests at heart and wants to keep this structure in place because they want to feel comfortable. I can tell you that right now. TJ, it's the litter box theory. If you ever go to someone's house, you can smell it. To them, they can't smell it. Exactly. Because they become immune to it. Or any smell of that matter, right? If you walk up in a house, you start smelling something, right? You're like, man, what's that smell? But let's just say if you don't do nothing about it, like you said, become immune to it. And then, for example, your wife or your husband come home like, what's that smell? Oh, man, I thought I smelled something. It's the same way. Like, but at the same time, somebody won't bring it to your attention. And when they bring it to your attention, what are you going to do about it, Hemisphere? What are you going to do about it? Like, are you going to change the trash, throw it outside, or are you going to keep your house smelling? Now that we know that the house is smelling, are we going to take the trash out? Let's see. It's like buying a chef every ingredient he asks for, and he destroys the food for your wedding. You speak like that from experience. But yeah, I get your point. Let's see. I want to know what it feels like to cheer for a touchdown. Yeah, it's been a while, huh? Let's see. Derek Carr was at the podium acting like he's a Hall of Famer who had a bad week. Man, Derek Carr is a joke at this point. Like, to me, man, look, you stuck with him, so you're gonna have to find ways to get him. But man, I don't think I ever seen, like, this is so crazy. I don't think I ever seen. Can y'all think of a Saints player who has really rubbed so many Saints fans the wrong way so quickly like this dude has? Like, I ain't never seen nothing like this. Like, you have so many Saints fans that, like, this guy's rubbed the wrong. I ain't never seen it happen so fast. It's like, I guess people like, man, what have you done? Like, this guy walk around like he got like 6 Super Bowls like Brady. Like, what have you done for you to like sit up here and act like nobody else has the answers but you? Like, and if the team fails, it's everybody but you. Like, what have you done? Like, what has Derek Carr done in his career for him to have this type of attitude? Like, you would think Derek Carr won something. Derek Carr ain't, I don't think, has Derek Carr won anything on any level? Like, even at Fresno State, what have they won? Dude ain't never won nothing in his life. And I think that's one of the main issues. Like, despite the fact that Drew Brees was a constant runner for MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, a Super Bowl winner, Offensive Player of the Year, multi-time Pro Bowler, multi-time All-Pro. You ain't never like got this like you never got this like indication that Drew Brees was beyond reproach ever. And I think that's what the problem Saints fans have with Derek Carr. Like, you ain't won nothing. And I really feel like this dude really came to New Orleans and really feel like he was the savior of this football team. And really probably still feels like that to this day, which really, in my opinion, rubs people the wrong way. And it's so fake and disingenuous when he takes accountability because it never comes from him directly. He never starts a press conference for the most part apologizing for his play or saying what he could have played better. In the process of his opening statement after the game last week, the first person that he talked about was Taysom Hill and when he fumbled. Not to mention, you were the quarterback leading your team into the red zone on 5 different occasions. Okay, scratch that. 4 different occasions if you count the Taysom Hill fumble. And you couldn't punch it in. That's the problem that Saints fans have about this guy. It's the fact that he's not taking accountability and that you have to force him to take accountability. And when Nick Underhill was at the practice asking him questions, you can see in his body language that he didn't want any part of it because he wants everybody to love him. He wants all of the credit and gratitude when the team is winning. Oh, Derek, thank you so much, man, for being our quarterback, throwing 300 yards and 2 touchdowns for us. We really do appreciate it. But it takes zero accountability when they lose. To me, that is not a leader. That is not a leader. And that is something that rubs Saints fans the wrong way. Like, what have you done for you to have this type of attitude? You ain't done nothing. Besides cry when you get sacked and, you know what I'm saying, run off the field and stuff like that to a shower of boos from your own fan base, which sounds pretty familiar. I mean, if the Raider fans are booing you and the Saints fans are booing you, maybe maybe you need to get it together. Y'all Saints fans forgot what I look like. Says good football. Thank you very much for $2. I'm gonna read a few more comments and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here and get ready for the game. Says Derek Carr's arrogance is going to get his feelings hurt. We're a small market, but our fans will give him the business. And they are now. And I don't think people would feel like, honestly, if he went to the podium with a little bit more humility, I feel like people would be like, okay, man, it's okay, Derek, man, we'll get him next week. But the fact that you sit up there and start talking about other players and them dropping passes and fumbling the football and act like, okay, I threw for 304 yards with no touchdowns. But you threw for 304 yards. Oh, it ain't my fault. And then you add on top of that, your head coach caping for him when we seen that your head coach has called out Chris Olave, has disagreed with Alvin Kamara, criticized Jameis Winston play. But Derek Carr is beyond reproach. Oh, we ain't going to talk about him. We can't play the blame game with him. So he's so thin-skinned that you can't even call him out. Meanwhile, when Tom Brady was the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going to an organization with 5 Super Bowl rings on his finger from the New England Patriots, Bruce Arians, who ain't won nothing at that particular time, still had the balls to call out Tom Brady for his erratic and lackluster football play. But Derek Carr has to be used with fine-tooth gloves. Like, you got to use fine-tooth gloves in order to work with him. That's just a testament to how thin-skinned he is. And they know he's thin-skinned. So we have to go to the press conference and cater to his ego. What a loser. Like, seriously, what a loser. Bruh, every Saints social media page dislike Carr, every last one of them. Drop Dennis Allen off in the ninth ward after the loss. Got to get some answers from him. Lions 48, Saints 21 points in the second half. Let's see. Arrogance comes from knowing his job is set in stone, pretty much. And that's the thing, like the fact that, they talk about the Raiders sending him home and all that kind of stuff. And, his wife crying and all that, and then he get all mad because they send him home because you're a loser. You thin-skinned. And it seems like everybody seems to react better when you're not around. Everybody seems happier. Like, Chris Olave morphed into like, a 5-year veteran when he went go sit his behind down somewhere when he unfortunately got hurt. That's when you start seeing other guys start to step up because they felt like they had opportunity. One checking it down, Michael Hingle style. Shoot. And some of y'all know who Michael Hingle was, huh? Y'all know who Michael Hingle is. Some of y'all know who he was. He was a lawyer in New Orleans. And he had a slogan. Check it out.
Before you accept a quick check with me.
Check with me. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude going out there being Michael Hingle every single week, checking the ball down every single week. Like, give me a freaking break. Like, people want to feel like they got a chance to make a play. TJ, my wife can't stop laughing when you say a player plays like slow. Well, I mean, if they play it like slow, that's what they playing like. And Dennis Allen right now, he coaching like slow, cold slow. I care less if the Saints win or lose the game. There is principalities to this. My man separated the word principalities. Let's see if Carr just comes out and says it's all on me. He'll get more support from the fans, especially more backing from other players. Yeah, putting things on you without the media actually leading you to that, right? You like right now you just a man leading a horse to water. Like, take accountability. Keys to victory: bench Carr early. Don't wait until the game gets out of hand before we see Jameis. Oakland had him for a while. Yeah, and Oakland and the Raider fans coming out right now saying, I told y'all, which is funny. This reminds me of the reason the Seahawks broke up. Marshawn and Pete wouldn't allow them to criticize Russell's horrible play. But at the same time, look, here's the thing. Even though Russell played horrible, you knew Russell was probably going to bounce back the following week. You knew it. Like, you knew he was going to bounce back the following week. With Derek Carr, like, can you say that? No, you can't. So to me, like, okay, I can understand. Look, I can understand a coach defending a quarterback if the quarterback has shown you that he can play solid football more times than not. But this guy has not played solid football more times than not. He has not made the plays to win the game more times than not. So he deserves criticism. At least with Russell Wilson, he about to throw the ball down the field to Tyler Lockett or, a DK Metcalf or something. You know what I'm saying? He's going to make a play. He's going to scramble out the pocket, slide for the first down. You seen consistent play from Russ. But with this dude, like, what has he done? Like, you can say, oh, man, at least Russell Wilson, like, went to the Super Bowl twice. Like, Russell Wilson threw a dime to Tyler Lockett, and an NFC Championship game to beat Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl. Like, what has Derek Carr done? Like, what has he done? But, like, I can understand Pete Carroll to a certain extent. Like, at least you have a quarterback that you've seen win something. But what has he done? That's my whole point. Like, what has he done? Besides act like he been good in his own imagination. Him chilling off in imagination land where he's the best quarterback of all time. Homeboy went to storybook land in City Park or something. Like, for real, like, this dude done lost his freaking mind. Like, this dude is great in his own frame of mind. The only place he's great. Like, you got to earn that, man. You got to earn the trust of your fan base. You got to earn the trust of your team. And you do that by consistent playing and then from time to time putting the team on your back. If Derek Carr puts his team on his back, he's falling to the ground. He can't get up. You ain't putting nobody on his back. not the way he's playing. So the Saints going to have to figure it out. Like, they're going to have to figure it out. You're not going to find success or be able to get anything out of Derek Carr with this coaching staff. Now, Derek, what I want you to do is I want you to look. You see, okay, I know you keep on playing the sidelines, but there's some wide receivers right in the middle of the field. We need you to hit that if that's okay with you, Derek. Now, I know that, you know, this player right here is open in the red zone right in the middle of the field. You don't have to take the fade, Derek. You can throw the pass off to Juwan Johnson if that's okay with you, Derek. When you have a coaching staff that's like that, come on, man, you ain't winning nothing. You ain't winning nothing. But for those that just tuned in, I got the Detroit Lions winning this football game today. I feel like the Detroit Lions are a really a good team offensively. I feel like they're probably going to be taking advantage of that extra days that they had, the 10 days, to be able to evaluate the Saints. And I just feel like, you know, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, and their offense is going to find ways to be effective. Now, the Saints are probably going to play a little bit better than they did in Atlanta because of all the scrutiny they experienced this week, because that's the way that they respond. But I just think that the Detroit Lions understand the task at hand, and there's an opportunity for them to stay, you know, in that race for that 2-3 seed. So looking forward to the game. Should be interesting. I'll be back at halftime to break it down, talk a little bit more about it. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. Those that may not know, my name is TJ Jones, and you can always check out previous episodes that are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. And you can also interact with me throughout the game on X, formerly known as Twitter, at TJAY Jones 8. Enjoy the game, folks. We'll be back for halftime and also the post-game show immediately following the game. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.